Okay, we are live. This is the HPC meeting, March 25th. I'd like to call roll call. Let's start with Jeff.
Jeff House here.
Will Roudebush here?
John Sampen here. We're hoping that Heidi Rieger will be here soon. Approval of minutes for February 25th.
The one correction on page 2, item 5, the address is 625 Haskins. That's all I noticed, and they look good.
I was fine with the minutes. Heidi will probably find something, but
I'd make a motion that we approve the February 25th
I'll second.
meeting minutes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Administrative items. Next meeting, April 22nd, 2025. Okay. Membership update for the commission. I have no news on that.
No update yet.
No update, okay. For the record, this will be we hope a fairly short meeting because I have a concert to go play at. I have to be somewhere at 5 o'clock, so we'll see if we can keep things moving. Membership, we've talked about FAQs, so let's discuss those for a minute. We had some discussion of additions and approval of a letter, which will soon be going to Will Earhart and Rachel Phipps. And we've shared some suggestions. Do we have any discussion on that?
I think the letter looks good.
And the additions to the FAQs as suggested by Heidi and also amended a little bit by Jeff. Jeff found a couple errors. Are we good with that?
Yeah,
We're not ready to show anything right at this point, right, Heather, as far as copies?
Right, I can make edits based on the conversation today if there's anything else, and then email it to you and bring it to the next meeting.
Great.
Good, yeah.
Okay, I think all those suggestions were very good, and I would move that we conclude at least that version of the FAQs and allow me to go ahead and send out a message to Will and to Rachel. Is that agreeable?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to vote on that. Okay, good. Strategic plan. I'd like to table that for today and make that a higher part of our agenda for next meeting. Okay, local designations of buildings of interest. Former South Main School, 437 South Main. I have no updates on that. Does anyone else?
I don't.
I know the mayor has talked to a couple people, but no update.
Okay. We're hoping that something will come through in the near future. We have been in contact with the owner, and I know the price varies from contact to contact, but hopefully we'll be able to find a buyer and some kind of a project. We've been talking, I know, with various people in the community about what that old school might become. I think there's a lot of great ideas. Other possible sites for the local designation or buildings of interest include the old windmill, the Hannah House, Corner Grill, Claysell. No discussion on that, right? Any additions? We keep putting those up, and at some point I want to come back and talk about them.
Yeah. I can also add Clazel to the list of possible buildings of the month, because we have the material on that from the
Right.
sign project. We could do it.
Good. Heather has brought up the transportation markers, the historic plaques, the opportunity for that. There is, if we have interest, there's that possibility for a grant. We would have to express a letter of intent by April 11th, I believe. Is that right, Heather?
I'm looking, I think it might be rolling until May 5th is the deadline for a letter of intent. But then there's different kinds of signs you can apply for too. But I thought this particular one, Hometown Heritage Marker, would go along with 625 Haskins pretty well, at least looking at the examples.
I'm looking at the 2025 important dates that it said application becomes available March 14th. Deadline to submit letter of intent was April 11.
That might be a different one that I was thinking
Is that
of.
an old, maybe it's an old date.
Well, the transportation grant was a different one. Is that the one that you?
I'm talking about the transportation grant.
Okay, yeah, that was a different one. I was thinking of the Hometown Heritage.
I know you had suggested that a couple times for our railroad lines that most of them are gone now, but to put markers up. If we want to do that, we need to put in a deadline, a letter of intent by that April 11th date. Any interest?
Well, I looked into the possibility of marking where the train station on West Worcester was, but then in there, it's indicated, no, the buildings have to still exist.
Oh,
And we're
okay.
not in very good shape for buildings. We
Yeah,
have sites, but
yeah.
not buildings.
Right of ways.
Okay, so maybe we should wait on that and give it some more thought. Okay,
Because there is a building, a storefront on West Worcester in the first block on the south side that was also a train station, and also on North Main. So I guess we could identify those and think about marking them, but it's probably for
okay.
next time.
Okay. The other marker that we had been talking about is 625 Haskins.
Yeah,
Hello, Heidi.
I can talk about that when we get to that. At this time, I would not propose a sign,
Or,
because I talked to the Jeanette today.
and
this
not,
afternoon.
and not the property either.
Either one right now.
Okay,
So now I'll talk more about it at
okay,
item 6.
okay. All right, thank you. Historic preservation tax credits, downtown buildings. Now, those can only be used for commercial buildings, is that correct?
Income producing properties.
Incoming properties as of right now?
Income,
Make money.
like apartments could
Okay.
be eligible.
Okay. So we can push that, but that would have to be, I suppose it would have to be nominated by an owner so that we could help promote it. So we'll keep that on the back burner, but I'm keeping that in mind. Okay. Number 5, public hearing for local historic designation. We have a public hearing today for 416 West Worcester as a historic property on local historic register. And it's been nominated for including on the historic overlay zoning. Anissa Miller, owner and trustee. So we're moving right into that. Do we have I know we do, Heather, but could you confirm this, the written request for designation and a date for that?
Correct. I don't have, let me look here. Oh, yes, I do have it in front of me. February 10th is what it is dated, and we received it around that same time. And then we also received the property inventory form, which I believe was in your packet, a copy of that. And then I created a map just to kind of show where it is in relationship to the North Maple current historic overlay zone. I thought that kind of gives you some perspective, and I can pass that down since I couldn't pull it up on the computer.
Yeah, and it's,
So are we, is it joining the North Maple Street? I don't understand what the
no, this
purpose
would
of
be a
the map is.
standalone.
It is, but it's adjacent.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I saw that earlier today. I just didn't understand. I know that buildings can be designated as an individual property,
right.
but I don't understand the
We
overlay.
we have had, we have two other buildings that we've designated, correct?
Well, we,
Two homes?
The one down on
so this would-
Buttonwood?
Yeah, I don't have the addresses. Does anybody?
503 Buttonwood and on Court Street, 228 East Court, I believe. 328, yep.
So this would be a similar situation, a standalone designation.
Oh, okay. So we're not creating a new zone, like,
We're not
Just-
creating a new zone
Oh,
at
okay.
this point, no. Okay, so we've received submitted inventory forms with photos describing the home, prepared by Heidi. Thank you very much. The building meets our HPC criteria for having more than 2 of the 11 historic points listed in the HPC ordinance. This building at 416 West Wooster is at least 50 years old, and it's actually about 80 years old,
no, 1888.
1888, so.
It's 125 something.
Oh, what, yeah.
More than 130 years.
Thank you.
More than
Yes,
130
yes,
years.
Thank you. It possesses historic significance as BG's one of its earliest hospitals. It's identified with the historic person, Dr. Andrew Manville, and exemplifies the historic heritage of the city. We can probably add more, but I think that's plenty to allow us to move forward with a designation if we so decide. So at this point, we'll hear testimony from the public. This is an open hearing, public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the commission, please come forward.
My name is Tom Votsberger. I'm a Bowling Green resident, local attorney. My address is 521 North Main Street, Bowling Green, Ohio. I represent Anissa Miller, who is the trustee of the Anissa Miller Living Trust. Trust actually owns the property. There are a variety of authorities granted under the trust to the trustee, one of which is to make applications such as this. You may be aware that recently City Council passed an ordinance, 9260. It was passed on March 17th, 2025. The ordinance was pursuant to a rezoning request that the trustee had made, and the council approved rezoning the property from PR pedestrian residential to R2 medium density residential zoning. And I won't go into detail about what is planned there. There was a lot of discussion before City Council and Planning Commission, and Ms. Saylor's group provided a very comprehensive and thorough staff report about the project and the goals that it meets within the city's parameters. So won't go into all of that, but suffice to say the intention is to refurbish the property, bring it back to its original appearance in terms of architecture. We want it to be compatible with the architecture that exists in the neighborhood. We have a very good architect that has developed some drawings for the interior. Best possible use is for a 2-unit rental property. That's the way it was presented to Planning Commission, City Council. That's essentially what they approved. The alternative of tearing down the structure wasn't viable. There are other permitted uses under the old zoning classification beyond a residential structure. So it's always been Anissa's plan to refurbish it. She's had a long time dream to do that, not sell the property, have it torn down, and have a modernistic building put up, and maybe for some purpose other than residential purposes. I know you have limited time, so I'm not going to go on much further except to say that the application that Anissa filled out and was submitted, as Heather has alluded to, we think meets all the criteria and the parameters of your commission and the type of property you're looking for. I've spoken to Lisa Brownell at the state regarding State of Ohio designation as an historic property. We would plan to go forward with that and perhaps apply for preservation rehabilitation tax credits. Just incidentally, and you may be aware of this, Lisa told me there's only been one other application that she's aware of, and believe it or not, it was Bob Mauer. And he got into it and decided there was too much involved and didn't want to go forward. So they're very anxious to work with a property in Wood County. My understanding, this would be the first. So I would ask that you favorably consider the application. I can answer any questions, or Anissa is here to speak in support. My colleague, Staten Middleton, who's worked on the project, is here as well.
Any questions? Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
Would you like to hear from Anissa, or is that enough?
good.
Okay.
Would you like to make a statement, Anissa?
Anissa Miller, 124 North Maple Street. I would have to confess that I am not the greatest researcher. I don't have the deepest patience for old documents and large books that sometimes have old-fashioned handwriting in them. And yet, I have done my best over the past 2.5 years approximately to discover and share information about the history of the building, which has impressed me personally a great deal. I would thank Dick Martin, Heidi Rieger, Heather Saylor for their support and efforts in that direction as well. And I personally believe that the historic significance of the building is well known to all of you and probably speaks for itself, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have no questions.
I have none.
Anyone else?
No.
All right,
Oh,
thank you.
and Jeff House, how could I
Yes, of
forget
course.
Jeff House's contribution to the research as well?
Great. Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
I'm Dale Arnold, and I'm the president of the Wood County Masonic Lodge Temple Board. And I understand that Mr. Manville was a Mason and would like to extend any kind of research or interest in helping out with any kind of research from that standpoint.
Great, thank you. Okay, no other questions or statements? So this is on our roster of discussion. We will hear from our commission if there's any further talk. Otherwise, we can move forward with a vote.
I'd make a motion that we approve the 416 West Worcester Street designated as a historic property and building.
I second.
Okay, call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed? Okay, so it's unanimous. This will go now to City Council. And I don't know when that would be on their docket, but I would imagine a couple of months or,
Whenever it falls on their next meeting,
Okay.
and then they send it to Planning Commission to review, and then Planning Commission does a recommendation back to council, then there has to be another public hearing. So a little more time involved.
okay. But it's getting closer.
Big first step.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. We have another home which has been nominated for historic designation. This is the 625 Haskins Road, and Will is going to speak to that a little bit.
I talked to the son, Paul Vernon, last month, and he wanted to talk to his sister. I thought they were going to move right forward, but he wanted to talk to his sister and have her talk to me. And several times during the month, apparently she tried to call me, but my phone, I think, blocked her. And I was able to talk to her. A message did come through this morning, and I was able to get back with her and talk to her. They're at this point with the mother still living there, and they're concerned about the house being designated, saying the restrictions, if they're to do anything, usually it may cost more. So they're concerned about cost to her. And the other thing about the site, which I suggested at least moving forward with the site, and they at this time do not want to, again, because of the mother being there. They're afraid for her safety and people stopping by, say, that's one reason about the hold on to signage. I think at some point in time in the future, they'll be interested in the site and probably signage. But right now they're concerned about the mother living there and a sign if people stop by and to take pictures or get out, and they're just a little concerned for her safety. And I think they're interested. And I pointed out that architecturally, the house isn't as significant as houses, say, along West Worcester. It is significant that it did sit here, was moved, but architecturally it's not real significant. And I was suggesting that maybe they don't move forward on it being designated as historic, but the site to me was important to the city. And so I'm hoping that they move forward on that at some point. So at this time, I would just hold on. I know they did do the consent form, but either polling that or just holding on to it until a later date.
So we're talking about the Haskins. This is the property where the Martindale first cabin in Bowling Green was built. And so it does have historic significance. We'll have to wait on that, of course. but
I've called the son several times, and I know he was reluctant to give the sister's phone number, but we were able to talk today.
Okay. All right, so
I
we'll
would probably recommend the commission just make a decision to withdraw that and not
I'd
us hold on to that indefinitely. It'd be easier just to.
Okay, I'd make a motion that we withdraw the consent form for 625 Haskins Road at this time. And
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for following up on that, Will. Friends of HPC. This is, we're talking about primarily the homes and buildings of the month. And I'm going to ask Jeff to maybe tell us what's coming up here.
All right. As you may have seen, for March and April, we are featuring the Helfrich House. That's already appeared, and apparently, though we split it up over the 2 months on the city page, the entire story is there. So that's fine. But that will take us through April. In May, we have the article from the owners at 155 South Prospect Street, which is Herman House. Leo Herman, the builder, built it for himself, and the owners kindly provided a history. Looking at the summer, someone, as I've mentioned this before, approached me about doing neighborhood stores, none of which are still in operation. Some of the buildings are still there and identifiable, but I got some information on this from Todd Wagoner. And there has also been a thread on the Historic BG Facebook group about these local stores. So I have to comb through there and see what material there is there. So I will work on those for June and July because there are several of them. I figure I'll do 3 or 4 for each month. August, either the Clazel, as mentioned before, or possibly the Hanna law offices. Drew Hanna approached me and asked if we could recognize that building on North Main, which is a fairly modern-looking building, but, you know, a lot of modern stuff is now historic, and it meets the criterion of over 50 years old. So in September, the Wood County District Public Library for their 100th anniversary celebration, and then in October, we hope to have the Lincoln House here on North Main, and that's as far as we're set up.
We did have a suggestion. I'm not sure where this came from for Easy Street for the business.
Yeah, I might,
Maybe
I'm one of the people who was looking at that, but someone else did too, I think. Yeah, if anyone has information on that building, which is clear, you know, it's still in fairly good historical shape, the beautiful ceiling inside, and I just haven't found out. I haven't looked very hard, but I haven't found out much about it. So I'll note that in the minutes,
Okay.
and we'll look at that too.
Jeff, going back to 155 South Prospect, did you find any pictures? That's the only thing I'm missing from the article.
You know, I asked on the Facebook group, the Historic BG, and a lot of people responded that they loved the house because I posted the picture from Google Maps. But no one had a picture. This reminds me, I have to try to get back in touch with the daughter and son of the Denbestons who lived in there before the current owners, and they might be able to look and see if they have anything.
Okay,
But
great.
apparently, there aren't older pictures. As someone pointed out, it still looks a lot like it did when it was built in 1926, but I'll keep looking. But meanwhile, I'll get a current photograph, and we can use that.
Okay, thank you. Number 8, public relations and educational projects. There were past workshops at the Wood County Public Library, March 10th, called Behind the Stacks, Wood County Museum, Free Fridays, Make It, Take It, March 7th. Future events, Wood County Library, follow the computer link that you'll have to just look it up. The Wood County Museum Easter egg scavenger hunt, April 1 through 30th. Now, are they doing that every day?
Yes.
Okay. Free First Fridays, Make It and Take It, April 4th. Tea and Talk, signed, sealed, delivered. The 6888 WAC, WAC, and that's a movie, I assume. Has anybody seen that movie? It's really very interesting about the a black women's troop during World War II that was sent over to Europe to clean up a pileup of the mail that had been stored in like 10 different warehouses, and they were very successful, and no one thought they could do it. It's a great movie. So I recommend that. Upcoming for HPC History Month, which is in May, Jan Knapp suggested delaying a Shakespeare reading until, I think, till next year. She was suggesting for the 2026 year in May, but she suggested she could present excerpts from her following the founder's paper at a Juniper event as sponsored by HPC. Is that something we'd like to pursue? And if so, we would need to talk with Junipers and see if they're willing to host that. What do you think?
Oh, I think it sounds good.
Okay, I can try to make a contact there, and we'll see if we can set up a date. Historic home signs for May. Heather's been helping us push that forward. How are we doing at this point?
We only got one new sign up from one of your neighbors, so we would need to continue to push that. And then, of course, tried to reach out. We reached out to 155 South Prospect today, who we just talked about, and they are going to participate. So it's a lot of just reaching out on our own, I think, to get more involvement at this point.
The country club said they definitely want to do it.
Okay.
And I had the sense that they were making an immediate contact, but obviously they didn't. Okay, make a note of that.
And that would be an easy one. All we need really is their consent. If they tell you yes, we'll drop off the signs, and we already have the history. So we'll plug that in.
And I did contact several neighbors in the Maple Street district. I'll try to urge them on, push them a little bit more.
I need to make a couple more contacts too.
We do need to order the signs, I believe, by April 14th. So that's why we had a deadline there to get them in time and get them ordered. Also, we need to figure out the pedal bike tour would be the next immediate thing, if that's going to happen for sure, dates and how that works. I know Jeff and Dick are meeting with the pedal bike owner on Friday.
This
correct?
Friday, yeah.
And we have the scavenger hunt ready to go. And I can pass that around, but we will have it where people can do it electronically, and it'll be utilizing, there's basically 2 questions per historical sign in the downtown. And you can win a $25 downtown dollars gift card, basically. We're gonna have 4 of those prizes. And we're also gonna have it on paper, so you'll be able to print it off the website, pick it up here. We have the library participating, and then also where the downtown BG office is over on South Church. So I think this will hopefully be a little fun. And we're also hoping to send this to the schools to have this as part of their flyer board that they put out, kind of like a newsletter.
Great.
Oh,
Thanks for pushing that forward, Heather. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, and thanks to the others.
You're welcome. Also wanted to mention too, I've still been working on the historical plaque prices, and I've gotten pretty pricey quotes back, so I'm still working on that. I also I'm talking to John Shercliffe, who did our signs in the downtown, thinking that he could give us some prices too. So the hard part is that there's so many different sizes and configurations. It's figuring out, kind of what's the most we can get, for an affordable price for homeowners that may want to purchase a plaque if they're locally designated. So again, still working on that.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
I have one more thing for public relations, and just quickly to mention that I'm continuing my Lively U presentations on local history through historic buildings. I did the first one earlier this month with a full enthusiastic group, and so I'll be doing them in April on the 9th and in May. I just pulled it up. On the 7th at 2 o'clock.
And where is that?
Oh, at the senior center.
2 o'clock at Senior Center. April 9th, the next one. Is there another one after that?
and May 7th.
Great. Also, same 2 o'clock.
Yeah, always 2 o'clock at the senior center.
Excellent. Okay, from the lobby, anything to report or share? All right. This is a world's record. We, I think, are ready for adjournment, if I can have somebody suggest that.
I'd make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.